The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. It is a Friday morning, and we are not here live. We are recorded once again, as of course you can join us out at the Ingalls on Smoky Park Highway for the Ingalls Magical Christmas Toy Drive, benefiting Eblin Charities St. Nicholas Project. But it is now time for round two of the Chase Claypool list. This is the team that Jeremy finds every year, the little diamonds in the rough in the 2022 draft class.
And this is the first iteration, so you'll see a lot of day one, day two, well, more day two prospects on this list. Guys that I'm very fond of.
Right.
I don't tend to back off of these guys as I see more tape.
Mm-hmm.
This tends to be the, okay, I feel real good about this version of this list.
Right.
Then we get more day three guys when I put it out again in the spring.
Yeah, we did the defensive guys yesterday, and today it's time for the offensive guys. Obviously, last year you still have that handy the Chase Claypool list from last year. I know your quarterback last year was Zach Wilson, and you're very happy about that.
I'm fine with. I don't have it up on the screen.
That's fine.
It was Zach Wilson, Devonte Williams, Monroe St. Brown, Daz Newsome, Hunter Long. I'm forgetting a receiver. Who was the other receiver? That's going to bug the shit out of me. Shy Smith. Out of South Carolina.
That's right.
My skill position guys have been hurt a lot this year.
Mm-hmm. Your offensive line, though, you killed that one.
Creed Humphrey, number one graded offensive lineman this year. Trey Smith, number two graded offensive lineman this year.
Walker Little was on that list as well. You do pretty well with these.
The linemen tend to be something that I do very well with.
Yeah.
Linebackers,
It is what it is. So the 2022 Chase Claypool offensive players, let's see. Quarterback.
Eventually. Go!
Your quarterback this year, Carson Strong from Nevada.
I love this kid.
Nevada.
Yeah, he's the biggest knock. There's two knocks that you can really give on Carson Strong.
Okay.
He has an elite arm.
Mm-hmm.
The knock is he's not overly athletic. I think Mac Jones has proven that's not necessarily a deal breaker. The other one would be competition. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks come out of smaller schools. And does he play in a system? A little bit. But you just watch the arm talent with this kid, and it's unbelievable. He's playing with nobody.
Right.
I mean, he's got one receiver that I value to be draftable. Other than that, there's nothing there. And he still tortures teams. He threw 4,200 yards this year.
That's crazy.
He's an unbelievable quarterback. I can't figure out why the rest of the industry is not on him as heavily as I am. I can't figure it out. And I think as we go through the process, I think people are going to start seeing it my way. I'm not saying that I'm smarter than anybody else, but that shoe fits. You lace that motherfucker up and wear it.
I was going to say, you do have an ego, so.
No, 100%. Never turns the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of the mind-boggling parts of this. He's Jordan Love with no propensity to turn the ball over. He has that level of an arm. And I just look at it and go, I don't see how this kid's not a top 10 pick. Once it's all said and done, and I know that sounds crazy right now, I think 3 months from now it's not going to sound nearly as crazy as it does on December the 3rd.
So can you give me a name? Give me a name of a quarterback that we know about that you think he will be drafted in front of.
That he'll be drafted in front of?
Right.
Sam Howell.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you thought Sam Howell was going to be number one.
And if I was doing it, he would be. I'm not. There are a lot of knocks on Sam Howell.
Mm-hmm.
The Baker Mayfield comp just will not. I mean, it's like Aqua de Gio or what's that other damn stupid cologne people wear? Dracar Noir. I knew I'd remember if I thought hard enough. It's like you sprayed it 6 months ago and it just won't go away. Your car still smells like it. I don't necessarily think Carson Strong will be the first quarterback taken. I believe that will be Matt Corral.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I would take him over Matt Corral. He certainly has a bigger arm. He has a more pro-style arm. And he's mobile enough. I feel like people are going to ding him for not being mobile because he doesn't run. He's still mobile in the pocket. And that's all I really care about.
Okay.
I'm not overly worried how often you take off and run. I think that just becomes a narrative that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. That we're dinging guys because they don't run all the time. I understand that, Mahomes is mobile. Herbert's mobile. Obviously, the Russell Wilsons. There's still guys like Tom Brady that couldn't outrun me. Mm-hmm. In a foot race, Tom Brady would lose to me. It's just not that big of a deal. I like the kid a lot, and I think by the time it's all said, I don't see him falling out of the top 10. I would say his floor for me would be top 15.
Yeah.
The Washington football team. Immediate starter for them. That's how much I think of him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I look up his draft prospects online, let's see, about a week and a half ago, there was a Lions fan blog that said that's who we need to take at number 1.
Oh, and there are a lot. I'm not the only one that's on him.
Mm-hmm.
The consensus is much lower. Like Draft Tech, and I can't remember exactly where they had him. I'm looking at their big board now. They have him 44, which I think is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. One scout said this about him: hands down, the strongest arm of any quarterback in this class. You agree with that?
Hands down, yeah.
Okay. All right. Also went on to say strongest arm of any quarterback I've seen in a long time.
To me, that makes it sound like he has a Jamarcus Russell arm, and he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not far off that. He's got a Joe Flacco arm. He has a legitimate can make every throw arm.
Yeah, 65 yards down the field in the air.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And he feels and he deals with pressure really, really well. This is a kid that wasn't blocked particularly. Things in front of him were not blocked particularly well. And he still dealt with it. And didn't revert to turning the ball over. To me, that is one of the clearest indicators that a kid is going to be a high-level pro quarterback. Even playing at a small school, you didn't get sacked a lot. You didn't turn the ball over.
Right.
What the hell you think you're going to do in the NFL?
All right. So Carson Strong could make a liar out of me and not make Sam Howell be the number 1 pick in the draft. All right. I have read up on him, and I know he's going to be one of the first-round picks, but I didn't think he was number 1 territory.
He could be that high.
All right. Running back for the 2022 Chase Claypool list.
I need to say this before I reveal the name. This year's draft class for running backs sucks. Like Breece Hall, I like a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm through talking now.
And really?
I don't like Kenneth Walker much as a pro. I think he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically if he gets in one of those zone blocking schemes where it's one cut. Other than that, there's just not a lot to. I'm looking at my board.
Kid from Notre Dame, Kyron Williams.
He's just been so bad at times this year. Easy to lock down. It's hard for me to get to jump up and down about him. Isaiah Spiller is a guy I do like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do like Isaiah Spiller. I think Brian Robinson has a shot to be a good pro. The 2 guys from Georgia. And then every other running back just has a ridiculous wart. Like Letty Brown, I think, is the most talented running back. I will not be shocked if he runs a 4.65. And in the NFL, it's just too damn slow.
Right.
Now, this kid, the one that actually makes the Chase Claypool list, I don't think you're going to have a problem with that.
All right.
His name is Devonte Price.
Out of Florida International.
Yep. This is a thick kid. He's 6'2", 215. He was also a high school track hurdler. Mm-hmm. And he was really, really good at it. The biggest knock on him is there's not a ton of tape. Like, I think over the course of, I can't remember the exact number, but over the course of his entire college career, I think he only has like 180 touches or something like that. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
For me, that actually might be a positive. because he plays at Florida International where there's nothing around him.
Mm-hmm.
He will get labeled as the downhill thumper. He's also incredibly fast for as big as he is. There are not many running backs that I think can be 3-down guys. Devonte Price is one of 4.
Mm-hmm.
Breece Hall is 1. Brian Robinson's 1. He's 1. And Isaiah Spiller. That's literally it. Everybody else will be some form of rotational back. I put it this way. If you told me there was one running back in this class that became a first-round fantasy football draft pick year in and year out, Breece Hall would be the one.
Okay.
If you told me there were 2, he'd be 2.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you saying I need to grab him in my dynasty draft next year?
I mean, it depends on where he goes.
Okay.
He's going to be a third-day pick. There's not going to be a lot. And if you remember, I said the same thing about a running back last year. Do you remember who that was?
No.
Khalil Herbert. I said the exact same thing about him. Late round guy, I'm telling you, when he gets on the field, unless he goes to a dumb team or a team with absolutely no offensive line. Where I think things could go, he's going to the Senior Bowl. So one of the things I would like to see is, can you catch? They didn't do that much, but they didn't do it much with anybody else either.
Mm-hmm.
It would be one thing if they had another running back that was catching 20 or 30 passes a year.
Right.
They don't. So I think that's more of a schematic thing. I think he could do it if asked, but that's something I want to see at the Senior Bowl.
Okay. All right, Devonte Price. Remember that name for your dynasty drafts next year in fantasy football. Let's get into the wide receiver core.
I'm not going to talk much about this guy because I've talked about him a lot, but he was the number 1 receiver that I couldn't help but put on my board because I keep hearing he's going to go in round 2, and that's stupid. It's Drake London, wide receiver, USC.
Yep.
This kid is – I see the same things in him that I saw in Michael Pittman. I see a ridiculous catch radius, big-bodied, willing blocker, all of the buzzwords that you would expect me to use here.
Right.
He fits into every bit of that. But he was coached by Clay Helton. And I feel like that staff has just completely boo-boo kittied. I mean, I could probably start right now and stop by the time this airs of how many offensive players I think have gone there and been ruined by Clay Helton. Day 1 starter. Immediate day 1 starter, and I think he will get exponentially better. I could see him being a top 5 wide receiver in this league.
Wow.
Said that about a receiver last year, too.
Yeah.
You remember who that was?
It wasn't Jamar Chase.
It was just 2 years ago. Sorry. Michael Pittman.
Mm-hmm.
There's no miss in him to make. I don't care where he goes. I don't give a damn who the quarterback is. I think I could
That takes a lot for him to say, too, because every time I say can't miss prospect, he goes, oh, nobody's can't miss. That's pretty hefty words coming from you.
Nobody's can't miss.
Of course.
I don't really care where he goes.
Yeah.
I feel like Jalen Hurts could throw to Drake London.
Okay.
Because you don't have to be overly accurate. He has a ridiculous catch radius.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's 6'5", 210, and he's physical as hell. There's not much to not like. And I do not see what it is. Oh, but he didn't produce as much as you'd like him to. Did anybody in that offense?
No.
Oh, they put up a bunch of yards. Who gives a fuck? This was the number 1 target on this team, and every coordinator they played against knew it. These are guys I feel like the industry misses on, and I can't figure that out. I do not understand how you look at this kid and go, anything but, yep, that's a starter in the NFL.
Right.
No doubt, absolutely. You can try to convince me otherwise, but you're really going to have to explain it.
But he has no flaws?
I'm not going to say he has no flaws.
Is his size a flaw? Does he use his size well?
6'5", 210 is probably never going to be a flaw.
Oh, I understand that, but I'm just trying to think, like, why isn't everybody hot on this kid?
I mean, if you're looking for a con, he doesn't release particularly well. So this is not a guy that you're going to see jump off the line and hit 80-yard bombs. Mm-hmm. He's also 6'5".
Right.
He may not be the most polished route runner you've ever seen, but see previous criticism of USC coaching staff that, by the way, was fired 2 games into the season. They knew it.
Right.
They knew it as much as I knew it. There are several players at USC that I think were just egregiously used.
Mm-hmm.
Another one with the same first name that we'll talk about more as the draft process goes on.
Oh, Drake Jackson.
100%.
Yeah, that he's a beast.
He was a guy that was very difficult for me to leave off the defense, but
yeah,
I did.
Yeah. He is a beast as well. All right, the other wide receivers.
The other or one of the two other wide receivers is somebody that you will be able to see on this here show not that long from now. And he plays pretty close to here.
Justin Ross at Clemson.
This is all about medical red flags.
Mm-hmm.
He has been hurt a lot. And that is, obviously you can't just look at that and go, oh, that does not matter. And he's not a burner. He's not anything like that. He's just very, very skilled.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now we've gotten to a point where every guy that doesn't run a 4.3 is not a good receiver in this league. I got news for you. There are a shitload of receivers in this league that are not 4.3 burner guys. And even with that, I would say Justin Ross is probably a 4.5-ish.
Yeah.
He did have the spinal surgery in 2020.
Right.
I will tell you that probably half the teams in the league won't even have him on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as you start talking about things like that, you're out. Does have a little bit of a drop issue. I could argue, as a matter of fact, it's not just I could argue, I would argue, that came a lot from DJ Uyunglele because I never said that with Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
I think with a high-level quarterback, he will be fine. And this is going to sound weird, and I'm sure he will not see this the same way. All of this could be a blessing in disguise. He's a guy I see going in the third round.
Mm-hmm.
There's no expectation. There is no expectation to come in immediately.
All right, at this point, you're taking like a medical flyer.
Yeah, and I look at a team like the Los Angeles Chargers, who have to make a decision on Mike Williams. And he comes in and plays as the 3 or the 4 for a year, learns the game, speed of the game, gets acclimated, NFL strength and conditioning program, and a year from now they look at Mike Williams and go, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to pay you $1 bajillion.
Yeah.
I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of Mike Williams, if I was being really honest.
Okay. Missed last year, obviously, with the spinal issue that they just found. Yeah. Like, it was a birth defect that nobody had ever seen, and he had to have it corrected, missed the entire season. His senior season wasn't that great. As you said, he did struggle with drops at times.
And you could have had Jerry Rice and Randy Moss, and it wouldn't have mattered with DJ Uyunglele playing the way he did.
And then his season came to an end after he had to have surgery on a stress fracture. So I could see why teams will be, I don't know if we want to go down that path.
I get it. I have no fear.
The third wide receiver on the 2022 Chase Claypool list.
This is one of my favorite players in this entire draft class. And I keep hearing, he's not going to come out. Bullshit. Yeah, he is. Wandel Robinson out of Kentucky. I'm trying to think, is there a player who has jumped off a screen more at me than he does?
Mm-hmm.
He's currently in that third round range, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why.
Figure out why nobody else is going to take him higher.
Oh, he's short. A lot of guys are short. And by the way, 5'11's not that short.
No.
He's not a 6'5 receiver, but you know what he is? Get him the damn ball and sit back and watch it. You want me to tell you who he reminds me of?
Who?
And I didn't think of this until somebody else in this industry pointed it out to me.
Okay.
Debo Samuel.
Really?
He reminds me of a shorter version of Debo Samuel.
Okay.
Because you just put him anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He started his career at Nebraska. That's why he kind of came out of nowhere. He was Mr. Football in Kentucky. Goes to Nebraska. What was the biggest knock on Nebraska over the course of the last 3 years?
They had Adrian Martinez as the quarterback.
They can't throw. Oh, so he came out of nowhere. He didn't come out of nowhere to them. Because Kentucky's been talking about him since about 5 seconds after he got on campus.
Right.
Oh, he can't block. That's fine. I don't need him to. He can do practically anything. If there was a knock on him, hands may not be exactly where you would want them to be, but I think that's going to develop. Mm-hmm. He's my number one slot receiver in this draft.
Okay.
Pure slot, because he's going to play out the slot a lot.
Right.
But he is so elusive with the ball in his hands.
He is. I mean, you watch Kentucky, and as much as you can be wowed by the running game of Kentucky, that was a kid that you went, oh, wow, they do have weapons on the outside.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and the more you watch him, the more you like him.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him. I think I told you about Wandel Robinson like 2 games into the season.
You did,
and just went, "Yep, I'll bet you that kid's on the Chase Claypool list."
You did. You told me. You actually told me, "Hey, you need to watch this kid," and I did, and you were right.
Oh, he is. He's one of those that He's not quite I'll stake my reputation on it guy, but he's pretty damn close.
Mm-hmm. But he played running back. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be a running back at the next level, do you think?
I can see him doing that Deebo Samuel thing.
Yeah, where they just use him wherever.
Imitation league. You're seeing how hard it is to match up with that if you're a defense. I could say, to me, Wandel Robinson fits that perfectly. He comes in immediately, and you could be doing that shit from Jump Street. And He's played running back a lot.
Yep.
He is a much more skilled running back than Deebo Samuel is.
It was one of the reasons he left Nebraska, because they wanted to use him as a running back.
Which is
and
really,
he didn't want to play.
That's everything you need to know about Scott Frost.
Yeah. He wanted to play wide receiver. And so he transferred out and went to Kentucky. They already had running backs. And it was just a match made in heaven that he gets to go back home. The tight end for the 2022 Chase Claypool team.
This is a guy that should be familiar to a lot of people. I like a lot of tight ends in this class. Jalen Watermeyer from Texas A&M.
Yep.
He's a first-round pick to me. Trey McBride out of Colorado State. He's a high-end 2. This is a guy that's going to go more at the back end of the second, beginning of the third. And it's solely because you put him in a pair of shorts and a T-shirt, and he's not that impressive. It's Charlie Kolar.
Mm-hmm.
He's gigantic, but he's not yoked gigantic. He kind of, and look, I know what I'm getting ready to say is high praise.
Okay.
He kind of reminds me of Rob Gronkowski.
Okay.
There is nothing about you that you're not overly fast. You're not some big yoked up. You're not any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And you move like you've got a 2x4 in your ass. And it doesn't matter.
Right.
It just doesn't matter. Every play that they ran in the red zone that was a pass, you pretty much knew where the ball was going. Didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
He would still get open. And I'll be honest with you, this was a difficult choice for me because there are a lot of tight ends that I like, especially that fall in that day 2 range, which is kind of what I'm targeting here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of knocks on him. Oh, you're not overly fat. He's a stereotypical tight end. This is a tight end from 1997.
Okay.
And he's not Darren Waller. He's not going to blow by anybody. I think he'll actually end up running rather slow.
Mm-hmm.
But he's smart as hell.
Yeah, he is. Kid got a degree in mechanical engineering with a 3.99 GPA.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Did his grad work this past year in finance.
And by the way, one of the classes he took in college, one of his elective classes, one of the things that you don't need to go towards your degree, was molecular biology, and he aced it. That's one of my favorite. I don't do random tidbits on players usually.
Yeah,
I read that and went, I like it. And this is gonna sound weird because tight ends are asked to do a lot of, as Brian Haynes used to say, hog-a-molly kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I like my tight end to be pretty bright.
Yeah.
Rob Gronkowski, for the meathead you see him play on television, pretty bright cat. And I look at Charlie Kolar much the same way. In the right offense, I think he can be an immediate contributor.
Okay.
Maybe needs to work on being a little bit better of a route runner. And the thing that scares me is he gets into an NFL strength and conditioning program and turns into Thor.
Right.
He's the gangliest 260-pound human I've ever met,
right,
or that I've ever seen.
Right. I still love the story about there's a certain level of fuck it with Charlie Kohler. Mm-hmm. When he made the decision whether or not to return to school or go to the NFL draft, he flipped a fucking coin. He's like, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I'm going back to college. Cool. I'll just go do some graduate work in finance and play football for another year, and then I'll go to the NFL. It kind of tells you everything you need to know. He was also a hell of a basketball player.
Yep.
High school teammates with Trae Young.
Yep.
How he got out of Norman, Oklahoma.
I will never understand. I will never figure out how you let him get out.
All right, let's talk about those hog mollies.
The hog mollies. I have the Chase Claypool list this year. This might be the biggest fucking offensive line in the history of creation. And we'll start with the giant. Not the giantest, but a giant. Darian Kennard. 6'5", 345 out of Kentucky. And trust me, he looks every ounce of it.
Yep.
He has played right tackle. He has played left tackle. It has not mattered. He is just so good. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a bit of projection. I've told you before, I do not like putting first-round picks in this list. This is a projection. I am very high on him with the understanding that I want him to play right tackle. I want him to play right tackle, and I don't ever want that to stop.
Okay.
I think he's better at that. I don't necessarily – my worry is that the regression in his draft stock doesn't come. And like I said, I think it will. But if it doesn't, he's currently in that 25-ish range. I don't think he should go that high.
Really?
Because he's right tackle.
Okay.
I mean, I have him in the top 20 on my board, but he does play right tackle. Very skilled, very just nasty. I mean, I don't really have much of a nicer or much better of a word than he is just a nasty blocker. A lot of the runs that I have personally seen from Chris Rodriguez that have made me like him so much, they were running behind Darian Kennard.
Yeah. He was PFF's number one run blocking tackle in the nation this year.
There are also a lot of people that think he's a guard. I don't agree with that. He's played guard, and I know that. And he's not going to be overly athletic. I think he's going to run somewhere in the 5'3" range. This is how I think this goes. He's going to be hot and bothered, and then he comes out and runs a 5'3", and teams go, oh, now he's got to be a guard. And he'll fall like a rock to the top of the third round, bottom of the second, and then I'm going to be sitting there going, no. Top of the second. It's fine. Right tackle, and he'll be there for 10 years.
Okay. Excellent.
I love this kid. I've watched a lot of Kentucky this year, can you tell?
Well, I mean, they were a hell of a team.
And what's funny is I don't really like anybody on the defense. The defense is what was so good. I like all the offensive guys. Mm-hmm. Except Will Levis. I mean, Will Levis is fine. I mean, I'm sure he'd be a fun guy to drink a beer with, but if the NFL draft was 47 rounds, I still wouldn't have him as draftable.
Right. All right. Are we going inside or are we going to the other tackle?
We'll go to the other tackle.
Let's go to the other tackle.
This is the biggest person in the history of the Chase Claypool list. Mm-hmm. This might be the biggest person in the history of the NFL draft. His name is Daniel Faalele. If you watch Minnesota play, which I do a lot because I have a bit of a crush, man crush, football crush on PJ Fleck, who I still wish Florida State had hired. Damn it. He's real easy to find. You can see him in the huddle and go, holy shit. Who is Andre the Giant that is standing over everyone in that huddle?
Yep. It's Daniel Faalele. 6'9" he's listed at. 400 pounds. Jeremy doesn't buy that he's 6'9". He thinks he's 6'8".
I think he's a little shorter than people say. I think he's just so damn big that people go, oh, he's got to be 7'9". And the only reason I say that is, and this is a little trick that I've used with me, because I'm 6'4", somewhere in there. Ish. I know I'm at least 6'4". I don't know where I am beyond that. I'm not 6'3". We got measured up the other day, taking my fucking inch back.
Thank you. I'm 5'10". Damn it. and a half.
I don't know how you're getting from 5'6" to 5'10", but okay. You know what? You gave me my inch. So
hey, you saw my results. You fucking liar.
The thing about Faalele is that you can very much tell he used to be a basketball player.
Oh, yeah.
Very graceful on his feet.
Yeah.
He doesn't play like a 400-pound human. I mean, he does, but in all the good ways.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the lumbering, holy shit. And I'll be honest with you, Faalele, the worst case scenario, he becomes the greatest swing tackle in NFL history.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could see you putting the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know why.
God.
They draft so well.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just see him lining. He's another guy. He's athletic and he's so raw. Because what did he play? High school football for a year?
1 year. Yeah. He was found in Australia. So he's from Australia, played basketball and rugby his entire life, knew nothing of football. There was a coach from the University of Hawaii that was out there scouting players, and he went, you know what? You're a big dude. You should probably play football. And he went, I don't know what football is. Well, I'm sure he knew what football is, but the guy had to tell him what a first down was. He didn't even know that. 10 months later, after he had went to the IMG Academy in Florida, he had every big program banging down his door. I saw a picture of him in a Georgia uniform, and I went, wait, whoa. I don't remember him being at Georgia. No, but he visited, and there were pictures. And then somehow he chose Minnesota, of all places, over Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Michigan. They were all in on him.
His biggest problem, there are times he just dominates people.
Mm-hmm.
Edge rushers can't get around him, and they sure as fuck can't go through him.
Right.
But he does have one problem, and this is very common of somebody that's played 4 years of organized football in their lives. He gets his weight over his toes. Too much lean.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wants to physically just lean on you because he's so damn big. And sometimes that will lead to him getting off balance. He winds up on his ass a lot. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Way more than you would want him to.
Right.
And I shouldn't say it's a lot because it's really not. But it does happen. And when he gets beaten, he gets beaten. And we're talking about doing this in the Big Ten, and now we're going to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He has slimmed down. I think he will probably tip the scales at the combine, probably in that 375 range. 400 is what Minnesota had him listed. All of these are what the university has them listed on their website.
Right.
So they tend to give you an inch, and they tend to bulk you up sometimes.
Right.
He has slimmed down, which the athleticism, you would think he's just a big lumbering human. He's not.
Yeah, there's no way you could not be and be that size.
He's not going to beat anybody. If we went out in the parking lot and raced, he'd beat you. But
well, yeah,
he ain't beating me. But now, if he did catch me, he could very easily make me do damn near anything he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about this: dude's 4 solid inches taller than I am, and outweighs me by half of you.
Yep.
That's a lot. That's a good God. When I think about it that way, I'm like, good Lord have mercy.
And can still dunk a basketball.
Yeah, that was the other. That's where I was headed with that.
Oh, okay. I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No, you're good. It got out there. That's all I care about.
Right. The kid is agile enough to still dunk a basketball at 6'8/9", 400/375 pounds. Feel like he's pretty good at things.
Yep.
All right, and the interior of the line.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This is some projection. There's one guy that he might be too obvious, but Jackson Kirkland's the first one. And here's the dichotomy of this list. I love Jackson Kirkland as a guard. I hate him as a tackle.
Okay.
I like him being on the inside. His technique is he's one of those guys that has always been big. You were talking earlier about looking at pictures of him from the past, and he was a bit of a
porker.
There you go.
That's the best way you can put it. This kid was ginormous when he was a senior in high school, and the first couple of years at Washington, he played on the interior of the line, and then they went to him and said, hey, we actually need you to kick out to play left tackle, and he was like, okay. I played left tackle in high school. They said, but in order to do that, you're going to have to slim down. during the coronavirus shutdown, he went home. They built a home gym, and he worked out 6 times a day, and he ate all the lettuce wraps in the world, high-protein diet, and this kid went from looking like a human toe to, I mean, he is massive and ripped. And it's just amazing to me to see somebody be able to transform their body like that as they're getting older, from going from dumpy little, well, he's never been little, but this dumpy looking kid to that looks like an NFL player to me.
And it does to me too. The tape on him at tackle was not particularly good.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I value him as a guard. This was a guy that a lot of people thought was going to be a top 10 pick coming into this year. You never saw that at tackle.
Yeah.
And I've never really seen it at tackle. I've had him as a guard for quite some time. Hopefully a team doesn't look at him and go, we can fix him. And now, don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of weird shit happen at Washington. And if you told me there was untapped potential in there, I wouldn't be stunned.
Mm-hmm.
But I firmly believe, and I've watched a lot of him because initially he was a first-round projection.
Mm-hmm.
He's not now. Now you're in the 3rd, 4th round range. But I think he'll still be fine. Much like I feel about the other guard on this team. He did the same thing. He kicked the tackle, and I hated it.
Yeah.
I have not seen one productive piece of tape of this kid at tackle. Now, guard, a little different. And his name is Zion Johnson from Boston College.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say what I'm going to say very lightly. There are players every year that I look at and go, if whoever drafts him does blank, I immediately go, you're in over your skis. If this kid plays tackle anywhere, you're a fucking moron. And that's as nice as I can be about it.
Okay.
He has been a disaster at tackle. However, you go back a year and you watch him at guard and go, holy shit balls. That is a starter from day one, and if it's in a zone blocking scheme, I love him.
Okay.
He's somebody I look at with like a San Francisco, the Jets, the Houston Texans, teams that do a lot of that. Day one starter, 10-year starter in this league.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't play him at tackle.
Just
For
don't
the
play him at
love of God, don't play him at tackle.
He's a super senior, so he's got a little bit more experience.
Yeah. There were times
spent his first 2 years at Davidson, too.
He did. There were times that I watched this kid and went, what the happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what happened to you? You were the man. I loved you. And now you look, boo.
But you think he can... Do you think all scouts see it that way?
Yes.
Okay.
If you don't, you're bad at this.
So once he gets back in, so once he gets onto the field and goes through the draft process...
I struggle to believe that this kid's not going to get, and I haven't seen it confirmed that he's going to the Senior Bowl, but I struggle to believe that he won't because he got invited to it last year before he went back to school.
Mm-hmm.
So I struggle to believe they're not going to invite him this year. They'll put him back at guard immediately. I mean, that will be the only place he runs. He will run as a guard the entire week in Mobile.
Okay.
I have yet to talk to anybody that does what I do that sees him as a tackle.
Okay.
And if I did, I would delete their phone number fucking immediately.
Because that's stupid.
Because you are too stupid for me to talk to.
All right, and at center for the 2022 Chase Claypool team.
Hey, what team did that last guy play for?
Boston College.
Oh, weird. Let's do it again.
Oh, there's another one.
A Lindstrom from Boston College being a really good interior lineman. Why do I feel like I've heard that before?
That can't happen.
Center is an absolute disaster. And I'm putting that as nicely as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to unless somebody just jumps off the page at me, I'm going to have 4 draftable centers in this entire draft. I mean, now you could throw somebody like a Kenyon Greene in there, but I don't think anybody with an IQ above salad dressing is going to play him at center. Could he play that? Sure. To me, he has a lot more value as a guard. Alec Lindstrom, on the other hand, this is a good center. He's not Tyler Linderbaum good. And one of the things I worry about is that he'll go too high because this is such a bad center class. He's not overly strong. I mean, this is another one that I'm projecting a little bit. Because currently he's falling in the back end of the second round range.
Mm-hmm.
I think as he goes through the process, he's going to fall because he's not going to test well. I don't think he's going to be, I don't think he's going to put up a shitload of reps on the bench. I don't think he's going to look overly impressive in shorts and a T-shirt. And then people like me are going to get involved and go, yeah, but watch this, and put the tape on and just go, he was all of these things at Boston College. This is not new to anybody.
Right.
I wish he played a little. I wish he had a little more of a. I wish he chose violence a little more often.
Okay.
But other than that, he's another guy that I see being a starter in this league for quite some time. He has great bloodlines.
Yeah.
His brother plays in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
His dad played in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He's an impressive kid.
All right. So there it is. Your 2022 Chase Claypool all 6 to midnight team.
I love this list. This is one of my favorite lists to put together of any of the things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And, it worked nicely with us being at the Eblin Charities St. Nicholas Project toy drive with Ingalls.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out nicely that we could do this on these 2 days. We could record it. Not a lot of prep time because we've got other things happening.
That's right. So, by the way, you're going to have to practice that. It's the Ingalls Magical Christmas Toy Drive benefiting Eblin Charities St. Nicholas Project.
Text it to me.
It's it is a mouthful. But, yes, come on by the Ingalls on Smoky Park Highway today and see us. Jeremy out there as we speak. As am I. We'll be there until noon. I don't know that Jeremy's going to hang out that long, but I'll be there until noon.
I'm sure I will. There's a gigantic smoker that has meat on it.
This is true. As long as Smoking Joe Lasher is out there cooking food, yeah, you'll be there.
I might not show up for the show this afternoon. That's way more likely.
No, you have to show up for the show this afternoon because we got to play Beat the Chief. I got to get my title back.
I have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my possession.
Yeah. By 1 game.
It's fine.
I still have a 1-game lead on you in the season, so I still feel pretty good about that. So we'll play Beat the Chief. 7. Yeah, we'll play Beat the Chief this afternoon. Of course, Jeremy will have all of the picks for the championship games this weekend in college football.
If you think you've seen me go crazy before, wait. Don't believe me, just watch.
Just wait for championship week. It's all coming your way this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And, of course, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And we will be live right here on YouTube. Appreciate you joining us here. Hit the subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. And we will see you next time.